Good afternoon, everyone. This is Anish Gupta, and I'm here on behalf of the National Law Training Institute. Today, we have among us Uday Dabas, who scored an All India rank of 68 in CLAT 2023. He also gave CLAT 2022 as his dummy attempt. He was in 11th at that time, and even then, he got an amazing rank of 261. So, Uday, tell us about your journey. How was it from 261 to 68, preparing for 2 years? What was the feeling when you got the result? Did you expect this rank, or even NLS was doubtful? So how was the entire feeling when the result came out?
So basically, I started preparation when I was in 11th, right? So I took humanities with maths. So that time I knew ki I had to do law. I had a liking for law. So I started
Yeah.
preparation in 11th. I started preparation under Legal Edge. I started giving their mocks. I attended their online courses for 2 years. I did not go to the center because it was too far away. So I went in for the online classes. I
Yeah.
started giving mocks ever since the first week only. I never, for the first time, like I used
Hmm.
to give mocks in like 4 hours. So I always felt कि mocks हमें देने चाहिए, mocks छोड़ने नहीं चाहिए. पर
Yeah.
mocks शुरू में the first 15 mocks I gave them for like 3-4 hours. I was like अभी आधा घंटा दे देता हूँ, अगला section 2 घंटे बाद दे दूंगा. But I never
Yeah.
stopped giving mocks. The key यहाँ पर हमें ध्यान रखना है कि mocks हमें छोड़ने नहीं है. First thing is this: don't skip mocks, even if they're bad mock, even if they're easy mocks. Don't skip mocks. That's the first thing I thought. In
Yeah.
11th grade, I did not know much about colleges, and I used to think that the top 3 4 are just outside reach. So I just started preparation hoping that I'll get a rank. Then when the first year happened, and I was involved for I that was 2021. So it was the year of online things, and school was not
Yeah.
there. So I did not prepare for school like at all. I did not go to school at all. And when it did open, I still did not go there. So that was the thing. Up in the first year, I hope I strengthened more on the English and comprehension part, because I felt ki this time is not going to come again. So the more I'll do
Yeah.
here, the better it will be for the next year. Same I did for maths. So in the first year, I improved more on English and maths and legal, doing basic legal CLK, mostly that. Then over when I've given like 10-15 mocks, I thought that now I should start giving it in the time frame. And I started with a score of around 70-75. Then over time, for the first year, I did not give any mocks until December of any other institute. Only LE mocks I gave till December. After December, I started like CL mocks, and I felt they were easy. And that's the common opinion about them. They were easy,
Yeah.
and I improved from like one mock a week to one mock each of LE and CL. Then after
Right.
December, I started GK because I thought that if I start GK from first day only, and the papers like in 2023, that time the date hadn't come. So I did not know that ki the paper will be in December 22 by then. So I hope ki if I have to give CLAT, that will happen in May 23. I'll better off be
Yeah.
starting like in December next year. So in
Hmm.
December back then, I had already started reading newspapers, and I was good with reading. Like I have been reading newspapers and books since I was a child. I liked reading, honestly. Ever since I was small, I liked reading. Reading was my fun. Reading was my mantra. So I
Yeah.
started reading and GK and newspapers. I always started them. It was mainly in December. I thought ki if I start making notes right now, by March or April, I will learn notes making. And that
Yeah.
register I still have there. It's mostly of mocks GK and CLAT post of them. I started making
Hmm.
notes of them, and now that I look back at those notes, they're horrible. They're way horrible. Even if the topic came, I could not honestly answer those questions. Over time, my note making skills improved, and the more thing was like, if you're able to make 5-6 questions out of them, they're good to go. Otherwise, you should just throw away. They're not worth it.
Yeah.
Then over time, my mock score went from 70 to 80. And back then, maths was a big bugger to me. It was not as good as I thought. So I started with maths, ratios, proportions, percentages, profits, and losses. And the mock score was still not that much. Like 70 went to 75, 75 went to 80. So maths was a very slow journey for me. I started preparing like 2 hours for it. another way. I brought books of arithmetic, DI, and I thought ki if the maths would go like this, hopefully I'll do something. Not nothing, I'll do something.
Hmm.
Maths I hated for early mocks because they were like way too tough, and I used to think that this will never come in the paper. And this year it was a big shock.
Yeah.
Then GK,
Yeah.
I started doing only CLAT post. I never did anything apart from CLAT post and mocks. I always used to make the day after I gave the mock, I used to make notes out of it. What's the important thing? Five important topics. I always used to skip the state walas and the topics which I would deem not important. This will be a skill which every serious person will have to know that this topic is important and that's not. Over
Hmm.
time, GK started piling up. And the thing was like I used to make a pyramid that today of my register I'll revise the first page. Tomorrow the first two, then the three, then the four. So day one will be very short, but over time it will get hectic. But the big thing was that after this, my GK preparation would I would believe that it was solid after that. Then over time, GK start after December, after January, after February, it started increasing a lot. So what I did was I left it for some time. And then I came back to it and I was like, this is so much, I'll have to do it all over again. So that is one thing to do. Never stop doing GK because it will only increase and hit you like a rock in the end of the day. So don't skip GK.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
have
Uday, sorry to disturb you here. Sorry to interject. But let's now CLAT 2024 is in December. So do you suggest doing GK from January itself, or should they like take 3 to 4 months for strengthening their fundamentals or the verbals aspect and then start GK from May or June onwards? So do you suggest they should do GK right from the beginning of January?
I'll tell you what I did. So I had 2 years. So I thought that it would come from 1.5 year back. So I started in like January and I had done it all GK. Then CLAT happened and 6 months gap was there for 22 and 23. So I thought that if the paper is in 23, I should have done at least the GK of December 21. Like today is
Right.
December 20. So I should be able to do the GK of the last 1 year because nowhere is it written that they'll not ask from 6 months later. So if you're appearing for CLAT
Yeah.
24, I suggest that the GK from today and a GK from the last month, ever since the last thing has happened, please do that. Do not skip that.
Right. Yeah, you can continue. Like, when did you decide that you have to give CLAT 2022 as your dummy attempt?
I thought that it would just tell me how much I'm preparing. And I never thought that I would get a good rank. But I was scared ki what if I get like 6K, 7K? So I
Hmm.
prepared for it. I was scared. So when the ranks came, I could not believe myself that 261. And I was like, up to I can get the mid-level colleges. Let's aim higher for NLS. That's when I thought about going
Yeah.
for LS.
Yeah. So did you become complacent that time कि 261 तो आ ही गया है और इतना अच्छे sincerely पढ़ाई भी नहीं किया तो अब तो NLS हो ही जाएगा. Like most of the people I know who got a good rank as a dummy attempt were not able to clear NLS this time. So what was your mindset after CLAT ranks came out last year or in this June?
After like CLAT ranks came out, it was around 22 23 June. I was like madly happy. I thought that ab to ho gaya mera. Ab to chill marunga. After that time, mocks start. Their Ellie took a break. They did not give mocks for 1 year, 2 month, 1 year, 2 weeks. So my preparation literally stopped back then. When CLAT 22 came out, it stopped me, and
Hmm.
I think I started preparation after that seriously around 5 July. It took me like 15 days to recover from it.
Yeah.
And yes, you can get complacent if you get a good rank this year and you'll have to appear for it next year. It's very dangerous, and even I know people who did not do this, who did not do well this year.
Right. Yeah, Udis, so you talked about the importance of giving mocks. So what was the total number of mocks that you gave throughout your 2 years, and what was your frequency in the last 5, 6 months before CLAT 2022 and before CLAT 23 as well?
Before CLAT 22, when I started preparation, it was always one mock a week. And those were the days when I used to give a mock in like 3 4 hours. You should try it. But if you're able to
Hmm.
finish the paper as a beginner in 2 hours, you should only give it in 2 hours. It will only help. There's no harm in it. I used to give only one mock back then in December 22 till December 21. I only gave one
Hmm.
mock, May 2021 to December 2021, only one mock. So that will be around 25, 26 mocks. Then
Yeah.
I started giving CL mocks as well. So it became doubled. So
Double.
by batch 22, I think I had given around 60 mocks, 60, 70 mocks. This is the, in the
Hmm.
middle, I gave a random institutes mock. I did not like them. They were very, thoda easy.
Hmm.
Then CLAT 22 ke baad, I started giving mocks every, like 2 or 3 mocks every week. In
Right.
that was like the regime for August, September, October. In November, I again became stressed, so I improved on my mocks, and they became from 3 to 4. It was a mock like almost every other day. I started giving mocks every alternate day, and by
Hmm.
December, in the last week before CLAT 23, like 2 weeks ago, in the last week, I gave a mock on every day. I even planned on giving a
Right.
mock on the previous day, but that did not happen. So I
Hmm.
suggest that if the last mocks should be primarily of tougher side, because if they are going to be very easy and if
Yeah.
you're going to score 115, 120 in it, it's not going to help, because you will think that you'll score this good in the paper also, and the
Paper
paper
also.
won't be as easy as it will be. So I suggest that you give a tougher mock on the last mock, should preferably be a tougher one. It's not really advised, but I believe that the last mock should be on the tougher side, because if it's going to be on the tougher side, you will prepare your brain that my last mock did not go well and I do not want this happen to again. So I will be fully alert when the day comes.
Yeah. So you also talked about the art of note making, learning the art of note making, and that is very important. What to leave, what to include, which topic is deemed to be important, which topic is not important. Although after CLAT 22 and 23, this is very difficult to predict which topic can come. So how did you go about preparing your notes? Did you refer to various websites, including Drishti IS, Wikipedia, CLAT Post, Manthan, or you restricted your sources to like maximum of two? So how did you go about preparing notes? And how one more thing, how did you select your topic? So like there are 10 topics in that seem to be important in a newspaper. So how did you filter out the non-important topics?
So basically, the first thing when you wake up in the morning is like you should read the newspaper and skip the political news, the international news,
Yeah.
who said who to what Rahul Gandhi is
Yeah.
doing, what Narendra Modi is doing. Just skip that; it's not going to come. Skip the obituaries,
Yeah.
skip the sports. Do not always skip the sports if something important like this year FIFA was coming,
FIFA.
and right now IPL is going on. IPL will not come. You know that, because it will be unfair to someone who is not interested in IPL. But
Yeah.
FIFA should come because it is a international sort of event and it makes news. Whatever happens, FIFA makes news. You will have to sort a topic which will be like, it will make news, and this should be a topic that a serious aspirant should know. After that,
Hmm.
during like after the newspaper thing, at the end of the day, the GK Today website was fully updated, and I would use GK of it, and I would make notes out of it, like what's the important topic. Mostly the climate topics and the daily news of GK Today was very helpful. After GK Today, I would go to Drishti IS to see if there's anything at all left. So after Drishti IS, they'll give you a lot of topics and you'll have to sort through them. They'll even give you red links
Hmm.
that will take you to another topics. So you
Yeah.
will have to sort through it, that this topic shall make news, that one won't. This topic can come, and if it will come, what questions can be made out of it? That one will have to realize, and it will not come overnight. It took me like 3 or 4 months. And when I had seen the same thing in mocks, like I've done a topic and I see it coming in a mock, that
Yeah.
verifies it that the topic will be important. So do give mocks and analyze the GK section as well, that why would they add this topic? Does this topic make news? In 3 or 4 months, one should be good to go with this. After
Right.
Drishti IS, like they will give you comprehensive lists. Do not go through all of them. There'll be a lot of UPSC stuff. Just skip through that. Do be sure that you'll make the primary thing out of it. You get the main juice out of it. Like if I'll ask you what it is, and you should be able to tell me what it is, not that trivia of it.
Yeah.
CLAT post you should do, but I only did like the first 150 questions out of it. I started doing one-liners in the last month. I thought that now that
Hmm.
ALET is there, so I'll start doing the one-liners. But weird as it went, it did not come. Nothing came. Like this year, it was easy. and ALET is
Yeah.
even more unpredictable than CLAT, so we can't really speak much about it. Then CLAT post one must do and make notes out of it. In my first book, I I although I had it done from the CLAT post as well, I still made notes out of it. That, like, for example,
Hmm.
the topic of Falklands, it was in CLAT post January, I think, and back then I think a plane had landed somewhere, so I felt it was important. I wrote it down, and when you write the topic down, you will have complete mastery over it. One
Yeah.
if one is comfortable with online notes, I never made online notes. I mostly made them on three registers. I have those three registers even now. I'm not throwing them away. If one is available, one is like, you feel that online notes are good for you and you can memorize stuff easily with
Hmm.
online rather than written. That is one drawback of written, that you'll have to write a lot and it will take a lot of time. On an average,
Hmm.
I believe one topic took me around 8 minutes. So if you're willing to spend 8 minutes on one topic, and there's no guarantee that that topic is going to come, that is a gamble one will have to play with written notes. I
Yeah.
had a group and we used to make we had a common document and we would write down the stuff of GK Fiesta. GK Fiesta was a legal edge thing. They started giving the most important topics
Hmm.
out of it. So we would prepare notes of ourselves on
Yeah.
that document. So that really helped a lot. But this year they played a little upside down, because instead of seven topics of five questions, we got five topics of seven questions.
I love.
That would require
Yeah.
that you will have to research in the topic even more further. You'll have to go even deeper in the topic. So
Hmm.
be sure to go deep enough, but do not be dismayed by trivia that this is a lot of stuff that I'll have to remember. For example, cheetahs. Cheetahs, you'll have to know their ambassadors, you'll have to know where they're being brought from, which country they're being brought from, their internal affairs too, you should know. That this year, like, if they came from Namibia, you should know who is the president of Namibia, what's going on in Namibia. And that'll be it.
Yeah, so a lot of people are calling you vocab lord in the comment section, and even I was a witness to that. I was in the Uber 30 group unofficially. Yeah, and I saw like Pari hosting a lot of vocab jams and you topping most of them. So, how did you go about preparing for vocab? Is it something that interests you, or is it something that is inherent to you? So, what is your like vocabulary strategy, or what was your strategy?
So basically, like, when I picked up the paper, so a lot of words, like, I did not know what is that. So I felt
Hmm.
ki CLAT is like a paper where you will have to have good vocab. You can get a good college with vocab, but you'll not get NLS with good vocab. So
Yeah.
I searched online and I got a book, Word Power Made Easy. It's a very popular book by Dr. Norman. So one will have to do that. That is a must for vocabulary. Apart from that, since I read novels, I was exposed to different words and I never wrote them down. There is an app called vocabulary.com. Just download it and you'll get word
Hmm.
lists out of it. You'll play it over and over again, and they'll give you words, they'll give you their antonyms, usages in sentences. You'll have to go through that, and that will give you a basic generics idea of what is vocabulary. Now, in our Super 30, every night at 9, there was a vocab jam hosted, and I did not join it. And in the start, I was like, "Aaj khali hu, kar leta hu join." I felt it way too easy. So over time, I thought that, like, if I have a good vocab and everyone else has a not so good vocab, I should invest more time in it, because good vocab will only help. There's no harm in good vocab. That will be it.
Yeah. So, like coming back to the GK part, so how much did you manage to score in CLAT 23 GK?
In CLAT 23, I had 25 correct and
20. Yeah,
six incorrect. So that will be around
right.
23 and a half. Last year
So,
in June,
yeah.
I was not so much serious about GK because I thought that the paper is still far away. So back then I had around 19.75. This year it was 23 and a half.
Yeah, so did you like take some intelligent guesses also, or you knew 25 of the correct answers, or what was it like? Did you try flukes, or was it intelligent guess, educational guess? So tell us more about eliminating options and taking an educational guess, so educated guess, because aspirants want to attempt more questions, but they're not able to do that because they're scared of negative markings. So how did you eliminate options, and how did you finally come to the correct answer?
one thing that we'll have to keep in mind while attempting the GK in the last mock will be that treat it like a mock. It's only a mock, and the paper is not going to come and jump and eat you. So you will have to take guesses, because if I go back and I was sure that these are the questions of which answer I am sure, I would not have gotten more than 15 correct. So you will have to take guesses. You will have to go through them. You will have to eliminate them. This will not come overnight again. Throughout mocks, they will teach you what is important and what is not. So you will even have inklings of this is correct and this will never be correct. Like Niti Ayog, for example, Niti Ayog will they
Hmm.
will give you three options in mocks, and they will be like, this is the function, this is the that, this is those, and in the last option there will be like, it was invented in 1990s or something. So
Yeah.
that will teach you to eliminate options. You will do that over and over again in the first 10 mocks, 20 mocks, 30 mocks. You will get the hang of it, and at the final day, just keep in your mind that it's only a mock, and attempt it as much as you can, because you will never get past 14 or 15 if you're only going by guaranteed correct options.
Right. I think the link has been shared in the Super 30 group. Pari is here. Shubham is also here. Upamanyu is also writing in the comment section. Yeah. So they have a very interesting question. If you are 6'7" in height, so at what height have you kept the camera to look short?
I am not 6'7". That's a rumor.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. So what was your strategy for maths? Like maths was also very difficult. How many did you attempt in CLAT 23? And did it throw you off the math section? Also, what was your sequence in CLAT 23, the sequence of attempting the paper?
So I went in the chronological order. You go through English, then you go through GK, then legal.
Yeah.
And in the old days before CLAT 22, I gave maths in the last. But then I thought that if I'm not going through maths, like if I'm not giving it correctly, I will get two, three, that two out of it if I'm lucky. So over time, I gave more emphasis on maths, and I started putting it in the first. For around September and October, I felt that I must score
Hmm.
at least 11 or 15 in maths. So I put it in the first, and I spent 15, 20, 25 minutes over it. In mocks, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And over time, when I felt that my score went from 3, 4 to 8, 9, I should put maths back in the original order. So that will help me.
Right.
You will have to do the basic topics like percentages, datas, proportions, and all. But what is going to come in the last day, just there's only one rule, there's no rule. Nothing is sure about anything in maths now. So this time when maths came, I it was in my last order. Like the last thing I gave was logic. First it was only the chronological order. Then in the last I shifted legal ke baad logic, and legal ke baad maths, and then logic. So in those times I felt like I will have 15 minutes for maths, and if I have 15 minutes for maths, I can solve 2 3 sets and 10 11, and it'll be sorted. But what came on the
Yeah.
final day, I there was a longer English, and English confused me
Hmm.
surprisingly. So I gave those mocks, and in the final day there were around 10 or 12 minutes left for math, and then I thought that my logic is poor, so I'll give 35 minutes to logic. So in those 5 10 minutes I went through maths, and I could not solve more than 3 questions. Then I went over to logic, and I thought that if there will be any time left in the final for
Hmm.
maths, I'll go back to there. But this year surprisingly logical came easy, and I was able to do through it, and I went through it in like 20 to 20, 23 minutes. Then in the final 10 minutes I thought that I have only attempted 3 in maths, so I should go back there. I went through maths, and in the last set, the Oxfam one, I wrote stuff down, and I was a bit scared about rough work, so I took another sheet attached to my admit card. I tore it off there and I did the rough work there. And I
Hmm.
just wrote the stuff down, and I thought that this set is not as tough as it looks. It's actually easy. And when you believe that the set is not as tough as it looks, you'll go through down it, you'll solve it. And I was able to do that set entirely. I got 4 right and 1 wrong. And in the end, I took random guesses. I did not do like all B or all C. I took some
Okay.
random guesses. They were a
Hmm.
bit intelligent, but some of them were wrong, some of them were right. In the end, I attempted around 10 of maths, 7 were right and 3 were wrong, so 6.25. That gave me an edge, I believe. I think it is maths that got me this rank, nothing else.
Right. Great. भाई बता दो 12 11 को क्या हुआ था? कमेंट सेक्शन स्पैम हो रहा है बिल्कुल गाइस मैंने इसको पूछा था बिफोर वी वेंट लाइव तो ही सेड ही प्रेफर्स नॉट टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन बट इफ यू हैव चेंज्ड योर माइंड उदय गो
No, I have not changed my mind. Nothing happened
अहेड
on 12 November.
Right. Okay, G. Also, an interesting question. Where are you finally going? You got NLU Delhi also, you got NLS also. So, and you are from Delhi itself. So, what are you preferring?
Uh, Originally, I did not believe I will crack CLAT. So I thought that CLAT is all as it is left. So
Hmm.
originally, I planned that if any college I'll get in CLAT, I'll go for it. But by the end, I believe that CLAT will not be as weird as CLAT. So when I gave CLAT, I was expecting like I got a score of 100 and in the final I got a score of 99.
Yeah.
So I knew that I would probably get NLS. So it was NLS.
Right. So, it is NLS till now. No, you're not changing your mind. You're coming to NLS. Cool. Okay, I'll see you here. Yeah. So one question is, if you were to go back to your CLAT preparation journey, what is one thing that you regret doing, and one thing that you want to change in your CLAT journey to get an even better rank? Let's say All India rank one. Abhinav would not be here, but yeah, if you had to take Abhinav's rank, what you regret not
More,
doing?
what more I would do.
What?
You're asking what more I would do if I were to improve
Yeah,
on my rank.
yeah. What more would you do?
I would. ये तो सोचा ही नहीं. But if I
Still,
were to improve my
yeah.
rank, I would go more on diverse exposure of literature. Like in the last, I was confused with the English section, and it was something that everyone believed English is easy. But in the end, I suggest that you should do more on comprehension. Like there will be a limit of vocabulary. Like if you've reached this level of vocabulary, that's sufficient for the paper. Doing more is not
Hmm.
harmful, but it is complementary to that. It will only increase your knowledge, but you should not give that much time more to it. I regret giving more time to vocabulary towards the end rather than comprehension. For comprehension, I believed if I gave more on sectionals, if I give more sectionals, more mocks, it might have helped, but that's all I can say about it.
Yeah, right. Uh, so last question, what piece of advice do you want to give to CLAT 2024 aspirants as as an All India rank 68 and also to 61 in CLAT 22? So what would you suggest? How should they go about improving their reading speed from the very start? Like focusing on the fundamentals, focusing on the verbal sections initially. So what advice? Yeah,
What advice I would give to 24 aspirants? So basically, the first rule is never ever skip mocks. If you're skipping a mock, you should
yeah.
like on your calendar, you should mark Sunday as mock day. And if you want to give the mock on 2 to 4 or at night, I don't think it makes any difference. I always give mocks at night, and I was told that you should give mock at 2 to 4. But it was afternoon, and I used to feel ki it's so hot. Who's going to give a mock right now? So I only always gave it towards the end of the day. Now, don't ever skip mocks and don't ever skip their GK. Give time to analyze them. It will take 2 hours minimum for mock analysis. 2 hours for mock, another two for analysis. So every mock I spent around 4 5 hours, and it this is I believe the minimum one must analyze their mocks because you'll have to find out what went wrong.
Yeah.
After every mock, over time you'll start identifying that this section of mine is weak. I cannot segregate between strengthen and improve on that. So when you identify that, you will have to improve that other from by giving it separate time. So my logic was poor, and when I realized that my logic was poor, I brought GMAT. I started doing their sectionals. So once you identify your mistakes, please
Hmm.
rectify on them. You cannot like after analysis you'll know that this section of mine is poor, this is strong. You'll have to improve on them, and you'll have to make a book at like this is the thing which I believe everyone should do. Take another book, mark dates on it, and after every day just write down what all you have done, and write another thing that what all you plan on doing tomorrow. So this thing I did every day, and it
Hmm.
gave me direction that today I did all this, what all will I plan on doing tomorrow. Once you start sorting out what this is, after 1 month, after 2 months, it will be fine. Another thing which 24 people should do is not ignore maths. Like this year, I know it was scary for everyone, but please do
Yeah,
not ignore maths, because if you're getting a tier 2 college, maths will get you to a tier 1. If you're getting a tier 1 college, maths will get you to NLS, and it is the magic thing of CLAT. Like it's a law paper, nobody would expect your maths to be good. So
yeah,
do not ignore maths, do not ignore mocks, do not ignore reading. Reading will only help you. And if you're a 25 aspirant, I suggest reading novels. Like I was in novels for a long time, but since most of the audience is 24 aspirant, do
hmm,
reading. Definitely do newspapers, do magazines like Frontline, Outlook. They give you exposure to social issues, environmental issues, climate issues, political issues. Cinema, they'll only increase your knowledge. So
yeah,
direct exposure would be required, because in the mocks, like when the CLAT happened, so all the topics of will not come of the same topic. All the topics are not going to be on terrorism or on education. First topic will be on something else, second will be on something else. That will be the
yeah,
same in English and logic. So you will have to adjust between, like, you are able to read literature on fiction and non-fiction, but when you lose your mind on philosophy, please read philosophy, but do not do over intensive reading. Like I will only read philosophy for the next 3 months. Expose yourself to more topics, and it'll only ease your journey.
yeah, right. So one last mandatory question. You were there with NLTI for a month. So what was your experience with NLTI? Were we able to help you? Like you were already a topper and we knew that you are gonna be some, if not AIR one or someone who will be coming to NLS. So how was your experience with NLTI? Rishabh was your mentor. So what was the process, entire process like?
So I was scrolling through Telegram, and there was this whole news that NLS students are starting a initiative. So I thought that let's try it. Nothing is wrong with at least trying it. I'll go for a month and I'll see how it is. I was like, my mentor was Rishabh, and he took weekly classes, and I used to ask him about about my mocks, like what all I should do, and he guided well. He was there throughout. He also helped in the process. Like after mocks, one thing that will come naturally is, if you're going to score good, you'll be happy, and if you're going to score lower than your expectations, you'll be sad about it. So either
Hmm,
ways, if you'll be happy, like if I got a really high score, I would not study the next day, that now that I've got a good mock score. But mock scores do not matter, they'll only help you in,
yeah.
like, getting the process, like what all. It's only a mock, and it will tell you what is wrong and what's right. But do not take mock scores too much on your heart. Like there was one mock, and I did not study for 2 days about after it, because everyone I knew got more than I did, and I was like, something's very wrong with me. So don't take mocks too much on heart. Cry about it if
Hmm.
you want, but do not skip the whole next day, that I did not get a mock well today, so I'll cry about it tomorrow. That was one of the reasons why I gave mocks at the end of the day, because if it went bad, I would not study anymore. But if I gave it at night and then it went bad, I would just go to sleep and start the next day like anything.
Yeah, right. That's it today. Thank you for joining us and thank you for like amazing interview with you. I think it's the first one that this is the first interview that you're giving after CLAT.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. We look forward to more interviews and more master classes when you join NLTI as a mentor. Yeah, cool then. See you. See you in NLS very soon. Thank you for this amazing session. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Cool, guys. Thank you so much. That was it. National Law Training Institute saw amazing ranks in ALED and CLAT this year, like with more than 20 plus NALU Delhi and 20 plus NLS elections. So, if you want to join NLTI as a mentee, we look forward to your participation. We have already rolled out our future 2024 plans and that are accessible on our Telegram channel. The link will be in the description box. So, please give a look at that. Uh, Thank you so much for joining in and listening to us patiently. It was an amazing session, and I hope that was helpful to you guys as well. Thank you so much.